Hello and welcome to the walkthrough for the challenge quest Size Matters on the Age of Empires Online Beta. The first thing you want to do when it's starting this quest is select all your workers and send them to gather from the berries, and then queue up more workers from your town center and send them to gather from the berries as well. After that, you can pretty much ignore your town center for now and just explore around the map with your scout. There are no enemies on this map, so you don't have to worry about getting up a defense or anything like that. So pretty much all you do at the start, or all you do for the first maybe 7 or 8 minutes, is just get a massive economy going. You don't really try to produce any units to hit that 200 population. What's basically going to happen is you'll experience a very strong snowball effect, where the population will be very, very low for a while, and then once your economy is up and running, you'll just spike in population very, very quickly. Now, let me say that since this is a 15-minute mission, there are quite a few different ways to beat this. Some people advocate using boats or siege engines. Personally, I think the best way to do it is using archers, and the reason for that is that archers are the cheapest per population unit that you can produce. Now, while siege engines and boats do use more population, the uh, the cost per population is much higher than for archers. Also, using boats would require a special type of map. With archers, you can do it on any type of map. Also, with archers, after you finish the mission, you can just send those archers over to the bandit chests and gather them very quickly. Now, what you're going to see is that since I'm at 10 population, I'm going to select 4 of those workers and send them over to gather wood. In order to gather wood, you build a storehouse next to the wood, and then shift-click those workers to gather to one of the trees. It's pretty important to always shift-click your workers to queue up a command after you order them to build something. This way, they're never idle and they're never doing something that you don't want them to do. After I start those workers on the storehouse, I'm just gonna click on my town center and rally all the rest of my workers to wood for now. One of the things you want to do is you want to get to age 3 very quickly in this mission. There are a few reasons for that. One is the most obvious, which is that you need to be age 3 in order to beat the mission in the first place. And for the reason for that is that you need to be age 3 to build more than one town center. Also, those additional town centers that you get at age 3 will help you increase your population by building more workers. And also, building more workers will increase your economy. So as you get more town centers and more workers, your economy will snowball as well, along with your population. Now you see I'm just finding all the cows around this map and sending them over to my town center. Now you can start gathering those cows if you want. I actually don't start gathering them immediately. I start gathering them fairly late in the game. If you gather them early, it doesn't really make a difference because you're not going to use that much food that quickly. So I'm just going to save them until I actually need them, which is probably going to be around age 3 when I'm going to be producing workers from all 4 of my town centers that I'll have built. Now notice I just started age 2 research. You can start it a bit quicker. I was a bit slow on doing that. Now, I'm also going to say that I didn't do this mission perfectly. There are quite a few mistakes that I made that you can use to smooth out the time and increase it. I'm also going to say my workers are not using any special equipment. The one special item they're using is the epic hammer from the final farm down quest that you get at a level 10 or so. The one advisor I'm using is Apprentice Mason Phylon, the rare version, and he reduces build time and build cost by 13%. Notice at this time I started building a warehouse next to the gold, and I'm going to start harvesting gold because you need gold to get to age 3. That's another little mistake. I probably should have started harvesting gold a little earlier, but it's not a big deal. I'm also going to start putting up some houses. I'm putting them up a bit before I need them. Or actually, this is about exactly when I need them. I'm at 18 of 20 out on the field, with 2 more units queued in my storehouse. what you pretty much want to do is stay pretty far ahead of your population cap at all times for this mission. Especially towards the end, you're going to be producing units very, very quickly, so you want to be almost at the population cap before you even start that snowball effect. Also notice I don't really send more than one worker to build houses. There are a couple reasons for that. The most important is that it's pretty inefficient to send more than one worker to build anything, unless you need it very, very quickly. So pretty much the only time that it's a good idea to send more than one worker to build something is if you want a building up put very, very quickly, or you need that building put up very, very quickly. I mean, as long as you keep your population cap above your current population, you should need more than one worker to put up that house. Now I'm also going to start sending some workers to gather stone. Notice I'm doing that even before my age 3 research started, and the reason for that is that you want to put up once you hit age 3, you pretty much want a town center up immediately. And as I said before, the reason for that is that the more workers you have, the better your economy is. Now, my worker totals right now, I have 6 workers on gold, I have 5 workers on stone, and I have about 5 or 6 workers on food. Now, the reason I have so many workers on gold is because I'm not using the gold bug that is in the game right now. If you use that gold bug, your workers will gather at double the rate, so you would only need half as many workers as I'm using right now. I didn't really use that gold bug because it doesn't really show you how to beat the mission if I exploit a bug in order to do it. So I'm actually not using any of those gathering talents. Right there you can see what gear my workers are using. It's nothing special. Now my age 3 research is getting fairly close to done, and I'm getting about the amount of stone I need to build that first town center. As soon as I hit age 3, I'm going to put up that town center. And I'm going to use multiple workers to build that town center, even though I said it was inefficient before. And the reason for that is that the faster the town center is up, the faster I get more workers. Now notice at this point, it's at the I'm at 8 minutes left, and my population is still very, very low at 29. And that doesn't really matter because right now you're just establishing an economy and establishing the infrastructure needed to just spike up on population very quickly. Also notice my resources are staying fairly low. The one resource that's really high is gold. And the reason for that is that I wasn't entirely sure how many workers I would need on gold because I wasn't using that gold bug. So I just put overkill on that amount. If you divide your workers a little better, you could probably cut a few seconds off. But you would still need a lot of workers on gold towards the end when you're using gold very, very quickly. Now notice I'm getting close to the amount to build another town center, and I'm gonna put that town center up as soon as I'm able to. I also build a couple archer ranges to start producing archers. I'm not going to use those archer ranges immediately, I just put them up because I had the spare wood up. Now as I get more town centers up, I'm going to start using food more quickly. So the 5 workers I have on food right now are not going to cut it. So when all those town centers are functioning, I'm going to need about 10 workers on those cows in order to harvest them very quickly and keep my food income at a reasonable rate. Also notice I'm getting close to the amount required to build that 4th town center. As soon as I have enough to build that 4th town center, I'm just going to pull everything off stone, build the town center with those workers that were on stone, and then ignore stone for the rest of the game because I don't need it anymore. Now notice it's the 6-minute mark now, and I still have pretty much terrible population. And again, you don't have to worry about that because what you're focused on now is just getting an economy up. You get a few production buildings up to start with, but you don't have to worry about it that much. The main problem I see or I read about that people have is that they try to focus too much on getting the population up early, so that they have a pretty crappy economy, so they can't support enough. They don't have enough income to actually hit that cap that fast. Now notice since I notice my food is getting pretty bad and I'm not able to produce workers constantly, I'm gonna pull some more workers off wood and put them on food. Once again, the total workers on food is gonna be around 10 or so. So right now, my total workers is about 6 on stone, 10 or so on food, and everything else is on wood. Now I'm gonna throw up a few more houses, even though I'm way above the my current population. And once again, the reason for that is that my population will snowball so quickly that I just want to build those houses early. Now my archery ranges are producing pretty much constantly, and my money is starting to pile up. Especially my wood is starting to pile up. The wood is the number that I'm really using as a gauge. Now, since my money is piling up like that, that means I want to throw down more archery ranges so that my money stays low. And really, that's the key to good gameplay in general. If your money stays low, you're going to be doing pretty well. And also, if your money stays low when you're not queuing things, you're going to be doing really well. If you are queuing units, that's usually an indication that you don't have enough production structures. So if you ever find yourself queuing units in the game, that means build more structures so you can produce more stuff more quickly. Now, that's not always true, but it's almost always true. Also, notice my workers are traveling a fair distance to return that wood. It doesn't seem like it's very long, but even a small travel distance for gathering makes a huge difference in the income. So if I really wanted to stay on top of my income right now, I would be building another storehouse closer to the wood, even though they aren't traveling a huge distance. And even that tiny distance, it looks like about an inch on the screen. I mean, that makes like maybe 20 to 30% difference in their harvest rate. Now I threw up a whole bunch more archer ranges because my income kept piling up more and more, and that's because my economy right now is just so huge with so many workers working. In total, I have about 9 archer ranges right now, and once again, I have all my archer ranges producing pretty much constantly, and I have all my town halls producing pretty much constantly. In order to simplify the process and produce constantly like that, you just put all your production buildings in one control group, and then or all your like production buildings in one control group. So I have all my archer ranges in one control group and all my town centers in another control group, and then you just rotate between those control groups and just hit A every time you want to produce more. Now A is the hotkey for the simplest thing. If you have other production buildings, it's obviously S or D or whatever other hotkey that it might be. Now notice I'm at about the 2 minute mark, and I'm at 137 population. Within the next minute or so, I'm gonna hit 200, and that's really how fast your population spikes when you have all this economy going, when you have all those workers harvesting and everything like that. Once again, I'm gonna say that you can even get a bigger economy if you were a bit cleaner than I was and build storehouses closer to the wood. I mean, you can see some of those workers are traveling a very, very long distance to gather that wood. I'm also going to send some archers over to the bandit houses so I can claim those houses as soon as I finish the mission. Just make sure you don't attack the bandit houses before you finish the mission, because the bandits will actually kill a couple of your archers, and it'll make you produce more. Now I'm getting close to the end of this mission, so there's really nothing much more to say. Just notice that my resources have stayed fairly low as I keep producing out of all these buildings. I could produce a couple more archery ranges and produce out of those as well, but it wasn't a huge rush because I could see that I had the timer comfortably beaten. Now I'm producing the last round of archers, and once those are done, then the mission will be done. And that's how you beat this mission.